Hello friends, welcome to Technique. This is Nirmal here, and in this video we'll be doing a camera comparison of two flagship smartphones. We have the Xiaomi 13 Pro launched last month, and we also have the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. Now these are two flagship devices below the 1 lakh pricing in India. Now the Xiaomi 13 Pro is priced 79,999, almost 80,000 rupees, while the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus retails for 95,000 rupees. That's pretty much expensive compared to the S22 Plus launched in India. Now both of these devices are really good camera centric devices with great hardware, the Snapdragon 8 Gen 2 devices, and both come with really great camera capabilities. Now the Xiaomi 13 Pro has this Leica branding. This is the first global smartphone from Xiaomi with the Leica branding. Now it comes with a triple 50 megapixel camera, while we have again a triple camera on the Samsung, but it's a different combination. So let's see which camera performs better and which is the better camera to choose if camera is your priority in the premium segment. So that's the video we're going to do. So before getting into the video, if this is your first time on this channel, do hit that red subscribe button and also hit the bell icon to get notified of all the videos we publish. So let's begin. So first let's have a look at the camera hardware on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now this comes with a 50 megapixel triple camera setup. It's a Leica co-engineered camera, and the primary camera is a 50 megapixel Sony 1-inch sensor. Now it does f1.9 aperture, and it also has a Leica authentic and Leica vibrant branding, and then you get a plethora of options available. Now the secondary camera is a 50 megapixel telephoto lens. It's a floating telephoto lens equivalent to 75mm, and you can do 50mm portraits, then you can do 75mm portraits, 90mm soft focus. So there are plenty of options. It's a floating lens. It's probably the first time we are seeing this floating lens, and you get a third 50 megapixel camera. It's an ultra wide angle camera with 115-degree field of view. So that's the camera hardware. It's a triple camera setup, and on the front you get a 32 megapixel selfie camera. Now there is a face detection, autofocus, optical image stabilization included, so it is pretty good in terms of aspects. So you get everything included with the camera. So that's the camera hardware of the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now talking about the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus, now you get a primary 50 megapixel Samsung sensor, f1.8 aperture, face detection, autofocus, then you have optical image stabilization. Secondary is a 10 megapixel telephoto lens, which is equivalent to 70mm focal length, and you get 3x optical zoom. Now remember, this is 3.2x optical zoom on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now this is a 3x optical zoom, and you can get a third 12 megapixel ultra wide angle camera, that's again with 115-degree field of view. Now the selfie camera is again a 12 megapixel shooter on the Samsung S23 Plus. So that's the camera hardware of these two devices. So really power packed camera hardware. Now this has the Leica branding and also Leica co-engineered camera setup. So let's see how good the camera experience is on this device. So let's go to the daylight shots first. So let's have a look at the daylight capture. So you can see here both the devices produces great details, and the dynamic range is also pretty good, but Xiaomi 13 Pro has a slightly better dynamic range, and the sky colors are definitely better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. The Samsung's sky color seems to be a bit boosted and slightly saturated, but Xiaomi's 13 Pro Leica algorithm does it better when it comes to sky colors, and overall the color quality definitely looks better. Here you can see that the tile color on the floor looks better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro and more realistic than the Samsung's S23 Plus. So overall in terms of daylight captures, we feel the Xiaomi 13 Pro does a better job, especially in terms of dynamic range and also details, and also the sky colors, especially the sky colors on the S23 Plus seems a bit boosted. Here is another image. You can see that the details are better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, which looks overall good, and even the sky colors and the color of the leaves looks better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. This is again another image. You can see that both these devices are more or less similar if you look at independently, but then if you zoom in and have a closer look, you can see that the colors are better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. The Samsung S23 Plus is still a versatile camera, but then if you look at the zoomed in pictures, probably the details and lesser noise on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. So that was the daylight captures of these two devices, and probably we would say in terms of dynamic range, details and also color reproduction, our pick would be the Xiaomi 13 Pro in terms of daylight captures. Let's have a look at the ultra wide angle camera. Here also you can see here Samsung's sky color reproduction is kind of saturated, and overall the detailing and sharpness levels are better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. So ultra wide angle camera, the 50 megapixel ultra wide angle camera produces better details, and here again the the color of the water on the S23 Plus is a bit boosted one, while the Xiaomi 13 Pro produces more natural colors. Again the sky colors are better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro, which looks more or less natural. So even in terms of ultra wide angle camera, there is a minor difference in terms of color reproduction, and that's where the Xiaomi 13 Pro takes the lead in terms of ultra wide angle camera. So these were the ultra wide angle shots taken with these two devices. Let's move on to the close-up shots. Here also you can see that both the devices produces almost similar results, nothing much to differentiate between these two devices. Both have pretty good colors, good details, and good sharpness levels are offered, and the overall quality of these two devices looks good. But the differentiating aspect is the different options available with the Xiaomi 13 Pro. You get super macro mode with the telephoto lens. You also get the macro mode with ultra wide angle camera. These are things which are missing on the Samsung's S23 Plus. We are not included the macro captures from the Xiaomi 13 Pro because Samsung's S23 Plus does not have that. So looking at all these aspects, probably in terms of close-up images, the Xiaomi 13 Pro has advantage with the macro camera. Let's move on to the telephoto lens. Now Xiaomi 13 Pro can do 3.2x telephoto, while the Samsung S23 Plus does 3x optical zoom. From the image you can clearly see that the Xiaomi 13 Pro looks natural, while the S23 Plus has some boosted colors. Especially when you look at the sky colors, it looks way more boosted and saturated when compared to the original colors of the Xiaomi 13 Pro. Now moving on to the portraits. So here you get variety of options. You can take 1x and 3x portraits using the S23 Plus, but on Xiaomi 13 Pro you get 75mm portraits, 50mm portraits, black and white portraits, and also you get 90mm soft focus portraits. So there are plenty of options available, and looking at the portraits, there isn't much to differentiate. Both of these devices does a really good job with portraits, but having multiple options with the Xiaomi 13 Pro gives it more advantage in terms of portrait captures. But edge detection was slightly better on the Samsung S23 Plus, and Xiaomi needs to improve a bit more on the edge detection. So that was a portrait camera. So again, in terms of sharpness levels and edge detection, S23 Plus was slightly better, but the options what Xiaomi 13 Pro offers makes it one of the better cameras in terms of portraits. Now moving on to the low light captures. Here once again you can see that both the devices produces very good low light experience. These are taken in night mode, and you can see that the dynamic range looks slightly better on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. And one of the good advantages of the Xiaomi 13 Pro is that it produces way lesser noise in the night captures compared to the S23 Plus. The S23 Plus does have this tendency of bringing in a bit more noise in the extreme low light captures, but Xiaomi 13 Pro images are way more cleaner. So once again, in terms of low light experience, probably the Xiaomi 13 Pro has a slight advantage than the S23 Plus, but not by a huge margin. Details and colors are more or less similar, but the noise levels are slightly lesser on the Xiaomi 13 Pro. So that was in low light captures taken with these two devices, and both did a really good job in terms of low light experience. Now moving on to the selfie camera. Now this is where things change slightly. You can again see that the S23 Plus does have a tendency to boost the selfies, but the dynamic range in the selfies looks better on the S23 Plus. The Xiaomi 13 Pro is not far in terms of selfie experience. It does provide a decent selfie experience, but here we would say S23 Plus did a slightly better job in terms of selfie camera, and our pick would be the S23 Plus. Now both these devices does come with portrait selfies. Here again you can see that the edge detection was pretty good on both the phones, but once again I would personally choose the selfies on the S23 Plus, which is slightly more richer in tones and also the ability to shoot videos in 4K in the selfie camera. That's one of the advantages of the Samsung S23 Plus. Let's move on to the video recording. So both the devices can shoot 8K videos. Now this is a 4K 60 FPS video. Now here things change. Now when in terms of photos, the Samsung's camera has a saturation issues, but in terms of video recording, Samsung's S23 Plus does a natural looking video, while the Xiaomi 13 Pro has slightly saturated video. So again, this is a personal choice. Probably if you want a realistic video, the S23 Plus is the one to go. But stabilization looks pretty much similar on both the phones, and even the colors are also quite good on both the phones. Now this is a 1080p video taken at 60 fps. Once again, you can see that the colors are more natural on the S23 Plus, while the Xiaomi 13 Pro has a slight boosting in terms of the colors. Now the Xiaomi 13 Pro has an advantage in terms of the macro captures. You can shoot macros with the telephoto lens at 3.2x zoom, and you can shoot up to 4K 60 fps macro videos. So we are not included that in this video because Samsung does not have the macro capture. So in terms of versatility, once again, the Xiaomi 13 Pro offers a lot more options, especially in terms of macro video. You can also shoot 4K with both the ultra wide angle camera and the telephoto lens on both the devices. So this is the front facing camera sample taken using the Xiaomi 13 Pro, and this can record videos only in 1080p at 30 fps. That's something which is definitely not a great aspect, because 4K should have been there on a flagship device. So in that aspect, we would say definitely this Samsung S23 Plus definitely does better, which can record 4K 60 fps. So this is the 1080p 30 fps video using the Xiaomi 13 Pro. So you can judge yourself how good the clarity of the video is and also the audio output. So this is the front facing camera sample taken using the Samsung S23 Plus, and this can record videos in 4K 60 fps, one of the few Android smartphone offering this feature. And you can see the quality of the video, the audio output, and the camera definitely looks good for vloggers. If you want a 4K video, this is probably one of the few options available. So that is a detailed camera comparison of the Xiaomi 13 Pro and the Samsung Galaxy S23 Plus. Now which one should you buy? Now the Xiaomi 13 Pro has great abilities in terms of photography. The HDR processing is excellent, especially in daylight conditions. Even the night photography looks amazing. The portraits are stunning, to be very frank, excellent portrait capabilities. But edge detection still needs a bit more improvement in terms of portraits. But never mind, it's still the best portraits available out there. Then you get macro captures, one of the best cameras for macros. You get 4K 60 fps video for macro capabilities, and the super macro using the telephoto lens, the 75mm telephoto lens, is excellent and probably the industry leading standards. Now the downside of the Xiaomi 13 Pro is the selfie camera. The selfie camera is not so great compared to the pricing and the competition. That needs a bit more improvement. It's not that the Xiaomi's 32 megapixel camera is bad, but there is no 4K option for the video recording on selfie camera. That's one of the downsides. So overall, this is a great package. Now the Samsung has great photography abilities, although the colors are slightly vibrant and HDR processing was not as good as the Xiaomi 13 Pro, but it's still a very capable camera. There's no macro camera. That's one thing which missing on this device, and you can go 3x optical zoom on this compared to the 3.2 on the Xiaomi. So that's not a major difference. Now selfies are really good on this Samsung S23 Plus. You can get a 4K 60 fps on the selfie as well. So if you are a person who shoots a lot of selfies and does vlogging, Samsung S23 Plus would be the better choice. Now video recording also is slightly better than the Xiaomi 13 Pro, or in terms of color reproduction, it's slightly better colors, while Xiaomi 13 Pro has slightly vivid colors. But again, that's subjective. It depends upon user to user. So both of these cameras does a really good job, and I would say probably the Xiaomi 13 Pro has a slight advantage, especially in terms of the macro capabilities and the daylight shots. So in short, I would say if photography is your priority, then probably the Xiaomi 13 Pro is the better choice. And if you are more into videography, then with better colors, the Samsung S23 Plus is slightly better in terms of video capabilities. Now the question is, which one should you buy? Now it's more or less depending upon the user's preference. What is the that you expect from the camera? if it is video, if it is photo, if it is selfie. So you need to decide based on that. Now if you ask me which one will I buy if I had a choice of buying a device from Samsung's S23 Plus or the Xiaomi's 13 Pro, my pick could be the Xiaomi 13 Pro because of the excellent photography capabilities and the macro cameras and the portrait camera, which is still one of the best in this price segment. So that was our detailed camera comparison of the Xiaomi 13 Pro with the Samsung S23 Plus. So hope you enjoyed watching this video. Do hit that like button and also hit the subscribe button for more videos. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.